Hello friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have Dark here in the top left spawning as our blue Zerg player, facing off against Cure in the bottom right as our red Terran player. Cure has been one of my favorites as of late. He's one of those players that he plays proper StarCraft 2. He really does, just solid, standard, and nothing too fancy. Cure makes you believe that you could be a professional too. You know, you look at it, it's like, well, that doesn't look so hard. And then you copy it and you realize you're about 2,500 MMR lower than he is. But he makes it seem doable. You know, he doesn't do anything crazy. His micro is good. His engagements are good. But all of it, most of the time, is not so much in the moment, but he prepares for them. When he sets up a fight, he makes sure that he sets it up correctly. When he plays a build, he makes sure that the build is executed perfectly. Like, he just doesn't really make decision-making errors, or he hardly seems to make any of those. So I'm really curious what his plans are going to be this game around. So far, he's opening up with a Reaper into Marine into a factory here, as his opponent Dark opened with a 6-ling start. I do believe that one SCV ended up going down. Yep, the Reaper is just looking around, trying to figure out if there's any links on the map right now. Which there aren't any, so it is what it is. Also, no Roach Warren as a follow-up. It's just a straight-up Ling speed rush after these initial 6 Lings. Overlords are being sent out on the map as well right now, just trying to get some info as to where that Reaper is going to be coming from. And the Lings start working on this unbuildable bricks. I thought it was called the unbuildable plateau, but apparently it's a bunch of bricks. Doesn't really look like bricks to me, but whatever. I'm not a brick expert. Third CC is on the way as well here for Cure, who's built a very fast factory and will be swapping that factory over onto that barracks to start producing a couple of Hellions. The question that I have here is this going to be a fast Viking or perhaps a quick Banshee? We have seen Raven builds in the past. I don't believe Cure is super keen on those, but it's definitely something that he could play. This CC is a little bit over halfway done. First few Lings make their way across the map. This Metabolic Boost is about to finish up, and they're just trying to get that snipe on either a Mule or an SCV just before the Hellions come out. Look at that timing here, how tight that is. That's a razor-thin timing, my friend. That is legitimately 2 seconds. That SCV is going to get taken out. Hellions now pop out. Second SCV takes a bit of damage, but will survive. Good control out of Dark here, just splitting off those Lings. Will lose 3 Lings, kills an SCV. I think it's an okay-ish trade. It's not the end of the world for either player. And now we indeed see Banshees coming out here for Cure. So it's going to be a Hellion into Banshee play. Most likely not going to be mech, as Cure is majority of the time a bio player. But we have seen this mech style, this mass Banshee stuff, become very popular in the past few months. So that's something we definitely need to keep in mind. But we see the second tech lab on the barracks. And if you're a Zerg player and you're scouting with your Overlord, you see a tech lab on that second barracks, that often indeed is an indicator that it's going to be bio, because this tech lab is a necessity to start stim here for Cure after that second Banshee. Now, Hellion production continues on, or well, actually stops after 6. Fairly low Hellion count. And the quicker you cut your Hellions, the quicker your Marine production starts. So that means we're going to see a lot of Marines a little bit faster than some other Terrans might have it, who'd prefer going into 8, sometimes even 10 Hellions. Roach Warren is on the way here, out of Dark. So, he is a player that does like opening up with those Roaches, gives him a safe feeling, of course. The third base is now officially landed. And we should be seeing the E-base kind of added pretty soon from here on out. Ooh, double cast first into the E-base. Spores are going to be in time. I don't really see an angle here for Cure, to be quite honest. Like, I'm having trouble with it. It's like, what angle would he take to go for an attack that could potentially deal some damage? I ain't quite seeing it. I really am not. Come from the bottom here. There's a spore in position already. How quick is the lair? Lair is a little bit away. 10 out of 57. Still need to morph an Overseer. Maybe there's something there. Dark is just droning up like a madman though. Going up to 67 already. Double EO chambers as well. 6 gases are out. Could even go into Aspire from here on out. Of course it's not going to be happening, but he's so rich. Yeah, it's going to be 1-1 and Glio reconstitution the moment the layer finishes. These queens were in position. Not a single drone went down there. Or one maybe. Now one drone does go down over here on the 4th base, but we're already up to 80 workers for Dark against a mere 52 for Cure. Look at this. This is insane. This is actually an insane number of drones that Dark is building here. Straight into 8 gas as well. Should be throwing down that infestation pit pretty darn soon. A couple more drones will get taken out, bringing the number down to 73 workers, 72 workers. Of course, Spore and Double Extractor also eat up a worker each. And indeed the infestation pit, soon to be followed by a Hydra den, and then perhaps a 5th base. Dark already has the worker count that he wants to be on for the next, well, 7-8 minutes or so. So, well, not 7-8, the next 4 minutes. Maybe he wants to go to like 81, 82, but not much higher. He's getting his 5th base. Really, the moment you're up to 8 gas, you're pretty happy as a Zerg player majority of the time. Cure hasn't even been capable of moving out once yet, as his first 2 medevacts just now pop out. We'll try and take out this Overlord. Hydra then is on the way on the other side of the map. I am so curious as to what Cure is going to be doing here. For now, just seems to be very okay, very content, but just taking out a couple of creep tumors at a time, keeping control with the Banshees, keeping control with the Hellions as well, making sure that he doesn't lose anything stupid. Pathogen Glance here is on the way for Dark. This Karak over here is seeing these Hellions come in. Dark was a little bit slower there and is caught somewhat out of position. Banshees once again coming in, scan. We'll take out at least 1 active tumor. Perhaps get a second one here. Well, not an active one, but just a regular tumor. Does not quite get it. Bit of a waste of a scan there, I would say. This is a very big 1-1 timing, by the way. I didn't quite realize what Cure was setting up here, but this almost feels like an all-in. Yes, it's only of a very low barracks count, but there's no 4th base here. 2-2 was delayed by a significant amount. This is a very strong push here with 3 tanks. We have a bunch of Hellbats in there to deal with any links if they ever do decide to show up. Glio reconstitution not quite done yet. Here comes the tank siege up as Marines are not getting hit here by those biles, not quite at least. Tank fire seems to be a good cure here. Just marching forward into those Ravagers and Dark in a world of trouble. Fantastic little push here coming out of Cure. Of course, needs to deal more damage than just killing a 5th base. He is on 3 bases. So ideally needs to take down the 4th as well. But this was a great start of the fight. 2-2 is researching behind this, but is a little bit behind his opponent's upgrade. So needs to really be very careful about all of that. Double Banshees here now making their way towards the top. As this tank will get taken out by a bunch of decent biles. Adaptive Talents is on the way. Dark is trying to go for lurker upgrades already, but doesn't even have a single Hydra out. I think that should definitely be the priority here. Just getting 1 or 2 Hydras out, trying to morph them into lurkers, gives you a little more consistency in your defense, I would say. So nice to have 1 or 2 lurkers against such high Marine counts. Right side base is being denied by the Banshees, of course, which is fabulous. This base is being denied by the tanks. 4th base is now on the way for Cure. So yes, he did deal some damage, but ooh, Dark's actually going to try to break this off creep. Seems like a very ambitious little push. Does manage to take out 2 tanks. Loses a fair chunk of roaches though. Is Cure going to move back or move forward? Seems to be moving back at least for now. 2-2 is about to finish up for both players as Infestors are now being built. Vipers are on the way. And we have 6 Hydras coming out as well. 5th base needs to be rebuilt, well, pretty quickly from here on out. That's what I'd reckon. As Seismic Spine is being researched. 20 seconds out of 57. Once again. Potentially a fight here. No stim being used yet. Look how patient Cure is with those stims. He's really not rushing into any position. Really not rushing into any position. Saying, hey, I know I can fight this. Now here comes the stim. I think that might be a bit too much. A bit over eager. Fungal's going to connect with 10-12 units. Basically all of them will die. The 2 tanks in the back will get their vehicle weapons level 1 finished just now. 3rd tank shows up. And we get a slow but steady leapfrogging motion here out of Cure, who did not quite start his Ghost production, despite already having a Ghost Academy. 3-3 has started for him, tries to jump in here. Medevacts are starting to run quite low, and he attacks completely into lurkers. Oh, That was a terrible, terrible move here out of Cure. And almost makes you wonder whether that was really necessary. He was even in bases already with a 5th base of his own on the way. He knows his opponent doesn't have a 5th. I mean, he has these Banshees over here denying this base. And he was denying his opponent's base just with his presence. So I feel like he gave up a lot there for no real reason. Now Dark is moving forward. Tanks are being set up. There's still 2 tanks. Yeah, there's 2 tanks actually still in this medevac. Here comes one abduct. Here comes a second abduct. And 2 tanks will go down immediately as Biles will rain down on another. And that means that 3 tanks out of the 5 have now fallen. Banshees here, though. Absolutely nothing to do with them. Oh, no. The Banshees are actually going to hold. The Banshees are the reason why this push can't kill right now. I actually think it might have been possible otherwise, with only 2 tanks remaining. That is a very tight hold in my opinion. First ghosts are now on the way as we have double factories pumping out tanks, plus 2 vehicle weapons, 3-3 coming out as well. Lurker count continues to rise as we're going up to 11. Base 5 and 6 and 7 all being built at the same time as the Banshees once again rotate towards that 12 o'clock base and try and work on it, maybe try and take it out. Is there enough anti-air to deal with this? I think with Vipers maybe you can, throw a parasitic or send a couple of queens over, but I do believe it's going to be too late and this hatchery is going to be forced to cancel once more. Not the end of the world, of course, as there's still 2 other bases that are being constructed here for Dark, but he seemed to be keen on getting it, and it's always sad if you're keen on getting something and you don't quite end up getting it. This is a 6th base and a 7th that are already on the way. We have an extra orbital here coming out. Rather than a planetary, an orbital, okay. I dig that for sure. That's an interesting move. Let's take a look at those tank positions as well. It's a really difficult area to break for Zerg in general. This map tends to be very difficult for a Zerg to break. And once again, these 2 Banshees being very annoying against the Ravagers, against the Lurkers. And now 3-3 has finished up. We're working with a significant ghost count of 8. 4 more are on the way. And 2 more tanks popping out. Once these double CCs finish up, I'm very curious what we will see. Is he going to try and take a 6th base over here and then potentially move on towards a 7th, kind of control this general area? Or is it more of a compact approach here out of the Terran player saying, hey, I'm happy with my 5 bases for now. I don't want to spread myself too thin. I want to be building up to a massive ghost army. While Dark still trying to kind of chase these Banshees who have denied 3-4 bases at this point. Dark will need to cancel this once more. Parasitic Bomb definitely should be on the way here. Gotta cancel on the hatch and an instant rebuild as well. Do have an army here moving towards the top side. That's 4 Vikings. And a triple drop coming in at the same time. That is interesting. And weird. Like really weird. I've never seen a move like this. Just clears the path with the Vikings, then sends the Vikings back home. Vikings, of course, going to be very useful against the Vipers, but this is completely empty. There's nothing in here. There's a single drop over at, I think, the 6th base this is, or the 7th base. And we have a massive drop in towards the main. If you can snipe the Bailing Nest, that's kind of a big deal. If you can snipe the Evo, that's kind of a big deal. If you can snipe the Hive, that is really nice as well. Although most structures have been built already that do require a Hive. Hive gets killed. Let's take a look here. Does the Bailing Nest get sniped? No, it doesn't. A lot of these links, though, are going down. Marines managed to tuck themselves into a solid position. Can we get some micro out of Cure? No, we can't. Biles will connect and take out every single Marine over here, as the topside base has also remained alive. A couple more creep tumors will get shot, but Lurkers in position to deal with that as well. More and more orbital commands are being added in, as Cure is making a play for the most command centers in the world. It's not quite there yet. The highest amount I've ever seen, I think, is 15 or 14 orbital commands, that is. And right now, Cure is at a mere 6, so he'll need to work a little bit harder, of course. The funny thing is that often with command centers in the end, it's not that you run out of money, it's that you run out of space. Like, there's just nowhere you can place them anymore. There's only, there's actually a lot of space on Crash Venue. You can definitely put like 4 or 5 over here extra still. Like, that seems possible, it's a realistic scenario for sure. Planetary gets built. I don't mind, rather than building a planetary here, just building a planetary in this location and keeping an orbital over here. Just having some tanks behind it. Always feels like it's so powerful to have a planetary in a choky position. It helps a lot to fall back on. You do have 3 more spores coming in right now. 3 spines as well. Let's take a look at the first person here of Cure. kind of see what he's up to. Not a whole lot, it seems like. Just scanning, trying to get information. A lot in this matchup is about army building. Making sure that you have the correct army at the correct time. He's adding Liberators right now. There's still a lot of Lurkers available. Liberators, of course, also nice at denying Infestors once Broodlords are out. I think the main thing that Cure wanted to know here with those scans is like, hey, are there brutes yet? Because if there are brutes, he really needs to make a change in his army. Still no Spore at this base. Couple of interesting scans here. 2 more orbitals will start and 3 new command centers also start. So we're going pretty hard here on the command center production. Another factory on the way. This is one of the things that I've seen some of these Koreans do. Oh, hold that thought as we actually have a little bit of an attack here. Turrets being rebuilt immediately, making sure that the Infestors can't ever sneak in. What I was gonna say is that I've seen a lot of these Korean Terrans just completely switch into mech ghost in the late game, basically. Like they get rid of their bio units, saying, hey, how useful are bio units actually? Like, he has 2 Marauders and 2 Marines right now. The rest is going to be Hellbat, Tank, Viking, Liberator, Ghost. That's a lot of Lurkers. Those are some scary spikes to see. Need to cancel that command center that is being attacked there. Let's get it. Liberator setup takes out one of these Lurkers. That was a completely fine engagement there for Cure. He's going to be okay with that, 100%. At the same time, though, another attack here on top. Dark is looking for holes in this defense. Look how... We've just seen the first person of Cure. Now let's take a look at the first person of Dark. Dark has very little vision. Has no good way of gaining vision either. The only way he can really get it is by sending in Changelings and hoping that his opponent doesn't realize. However, because Cure isn't building any Marines, seeing a Marine is always going to raise some suspicion. So... yeah, it's quite easy to spot. This is an aggressive base to take for Dark. Taking one of his opponent's bases here, saying, hey, I really need to start mining from your crap. Otherwise, I don't quite think I'm going to be capable of doing it. That base gets blasted basically immediately. Spore gets pushed forward here as well. Lurker's moving in now. At the same time, maybe a little bit of a rotation from that bottom army. Doesn't seem to be the case. I wouldn't mind a Nidus network just to rotate between the top and the bottom side. Changelings indeed are moving in. And here comes Dark. Dark just pokes in with Changelings. He's like, hey, can I go there? Is this safe? The answer is, well, no, not really apparently, but he thought it was safe. Messed up that assault a little bit, losing way too much against that lib. Ooh, nuclear launch detected. Immediately spots the red dot there. It's important, spotting that red dot ASAP. Push. Killed nothing but a couple of creep tumors, not the end of the world. Very scary here for Dark. He's gonna defend this with the Lurkers up top. Well, potentially going for a Ling Bane. Don't forget Darkstill's on a very high eco here, so... I'm not so sure what his plan is, but he can't really go for an engagement into a position anymore. Like that dream seems to be dead. Like his army is simply too small to win a major fight. He doesn't have the tech units for that either. He's getting 17, 15 creep tumors at the same time. +3 attack here for air. +2 carapace for air. So we see ship weapons coming out of Cure as well. Here come the Thors, here come the tanks. And here comes the Liberator Hellbat Ghost setup with it. Big assault, and immediately we have a rotation here. There is a planetary that will help out. A couple of blinding clouds are going to be quite important if you can hit them. No, it's going to be abducts instead. There we go, 2 abducts get, well, pretty decent connections, but these tanks are still shooting. Perhaps blinding cloud would have been the superior call here. This planetary will fall. The Vikings come in, won't be capable of doing very much. Go slightly too late for those snipes as well. So we have this slow push here coming out of Cure. Just going forward bit by bit. We had an absolutely fabulous game between these 2 guys. It was last week, a week and a half ago. So sick. Like, actually, legitimately so sick. fucking mental game. I can't quite remember what tournament that was in, but a very solid one. And this is becoming a pretty epic one as well over here. Big scan will find a couple of these lurkers. Ghost not being controlled here. Need to use cloak, but overseers are available. Overseers fly into the Vikings. Liberators. What a chaotic fight here. In which I'm not entirely sure who's winning it, but it feels like, oh no, the takeover happened. Lurkers showing up right now. Here comes the scan, but Thors start fighting each other. Tanks and Thors just shooting at one another. That's something you never really want to see. Lurkers will die as well. Who won this fight? I think it's Dark, but there's still a lot of units left over here for Cure. Cure, however, hasn't been mining from this top base. Dark still thinking about taking that bottom, but now perhaps thinking about taking this top one. I'm not so sure what the plans are here for Dark. Still such a high worker count. Almost feels like transitioning into Brute Lords would be correct at this point. There's no real anti-air except for a couple of Vikings. Surely that's not going to be enough. Here comes a Ling run by. Very scary. The moment you see just a single Hellbat, you know those Ling run-bys won't quite work anymore. There's +3. There is the blue flame, and that means that Hellbats will one-shot them. Here we go. Take a look at this fight over here as Banelings try to get big connections. They do get pretty big connections. Hydras get in there as well. Can we get a couple of Fungals, perhaps? Not necessary, as this base is going to get taken out. And Dark, with his high worker count, manages to do it here. Still taking good fight after good fight. Cure in shambles. Not capable of reproducing enough units to hold. Nidus network now on the way. So we have 16 Corruptors coming out as well. That is a very large amount of Corruptors. 2 Vipers, 2 Infestors, +3 Carapace. I think this is broody time, isn't it? Time for some real Brute Lords. Raven coming out. This is why I love Cure. He does what, you know, the average Redditor already figured out 5 years ago, is that Ravens are pretty good to have in the late game. For their detection, but also for the anti-armor. Like, it's an insane unit. -2 armor, yes sir. 14 brutes on the way. Oof. That's going to be an issue, isn't it? Do we have any Thors at all? There's no Thors. There's 6 Vikings, and that's it for the anti-air. Of course, there's some Ghosts as well, which could be helpful. Especially if you have Hellbats in front, clearing those Brutelings at a high pace, but still need to see this happen. More and more Brood Lords are finishing their Morphnet right now. It's morbing time. So we have 16 Broodies. 16 Broodies. 6 more Lurkers. A bunch of Fungal Boys and a Viper. Or 2. Nidus networks being built everywhere for quick rotational purpose. Stark has now established this bottom side base, forcing Cure's hand. If Cure doesn't fight for this base, he could actually lose the game. This is a game-changing decision here. That Dark actually is putting all of his defensive resources here into this. A good initial fight. Raven anti-armor missile does hit. That means that these Vikings are a lot more effective than they ever should be. But Parasitic is also way more effective than it ever should be. And every single Viking will go down over here. Dark, with a fantastic start of the fight here, will hold this base for now. Does he still have the ability, the capability to take out a top side as well at the same time? I think no. I think this is too well set up. It has too many tanks, too many Liberators, a couple of Hellbats there as well. Seems like an issue. But of course, with the Nidus, he can quickly rotate from bottom to top and from top to bottom. And that might actually be really useful. Because now we have this push in. It seems that Cure has a similar plan here on the top side. We have a Nidus in the... Look at this! A Nidus in the main base while being defended here by the Brute Lords. Liberators are being set up, but I think that Vipers could definitely do something in this regard. 1 or 2 Parasitic Bombs would be huge, of course. I'm not quite sure where these Banelings were going, but to me it seemed like the incorrect base. Here indeed comes that Parasitic Bomb. Hits 1, hits 2 of these Liberators with the splash. 1 might even die. No, will not quite, but it was darn close. Tanks, Hellbats, everything moving forward here. Liberators being set up as well. We have a... It's Tony the tank over here. Going by himself. He's had enough of staying with the pack. Everyone's just ignoring Tony. It's like high school all over again. He didn't have a good time there. I think these Hydras will fight him. Oh, sure. No, they will. Okay, 17 drones have been taken out. I almost feel like Cure did Dark a favor there, taking out some of these drones. Dark, I think Dark actually doesn't have that much cash. But Dark just needs to focus on mining from this bottom base and mining from this top base. These are the most important bases. The hardest to keep. Liberator continues going here. Lenny the Liberator. Look at him. Pew. One more links going down as well. We do have the start of a decently sized fight here. The planetary gets blasted. Fungal almost connects with a lot. Ends up just connecting with a little. One more fungal, one more fungal. Whoop. Doesn't quite connect. Just with one lip. Now tanks down here, and there is one Hellbat, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Link should be capable of dealing with this. I think so, at least. Yep, there we go. Dark does get a trade there. Resources lost. Only 7k in favor of Cure. That is very little. And don't forget that Dark is already mining his base right now. Cure also did not quite manage finishing this bad boy up. There's still, well, about 900 gas. 900 gas, I think, right? Yeah, 900 gas. A little bit more even, 910 or so. A couple of mineral patches as well, maybe 500-600 minerals. These things actually will start to matter. SCV's taking a massive beating here from the low ground. There's the reverse balcony here coming out of these infestors, taking over one of these Thors as well. 16 workers going down all at once. Now Cure isn't exactly in dire need of cash right now, but still, this is a very low worker count. Probably lower than he would have wanted. Now we have Broodlords moving in, Banelings being morphed as well. There's a lot of infestors with this army. Can the Vipers do something here? Maybe a pool, maybe just a parasitic bomb. What is it you actually want in this case, Dark? What are you hoping for? What are you aiming for? I think one thing you should be aiming for is more drones on these outside bases. We have 16 drones here, but why is this base saturated more than a base that is way higher contested? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Resources lost 48k to 43. These are good numbers here for Dark. Dark is very happy with that. And now he has this massive Brood army, sends it in. Nidus just pops out in the middle of a fight. This is cinematic levels of engagement here coming out of Dark. 182 supply against 169. 48 new links are on the way. Have the ghosts just pretty much disappeared at this point? Where are they? They're in the back. That's not where they want to be. They want to be shooting and, well, basically just shooting. They just want to be shooting stuff. Yeah. There's literally 0 workers right now on the bottom side. That's such an error. That is such an error. I feel like this Liberator might have something to do with that, but still, an error nonetheless. Changelings are in range of these Liberators. Should probably be taken out here. It's very important to deny all vision out from your opponent. This Lurker's once again set up. Dark starts to saturate this bottom side base once more. Let's hear the anti-armor missile actually connects in a pretty big way. Gives Cure a pretty decent timing windows. The anti-armor missile lasts about 3 decades. Dark immediately runs away, saying, okay, you want to attack my base? I have something that's more valuable. Your production. If you want to kill a base, I will kill your production. And I think this is a very proper way to set up, honestly. Cure can't move away from this base because he's, you know, this is his mining base, one of the only ones. Cure's trouble mining from here. So if Cure goes downstairs, he'll lose this base. If Cure goes upstairs, he might lose his production. So really seems to be no way to win for him. He's kind of bleeding out units at this point. And he can't really lose any more units. He doesn't have the money to reproduce. Here come 4 Vipers. One snipe will take out one. No, it won't. Fungal completely misses there. The Brutes move in. Fungal from a distance. Big blinding cloud. Actually impressive. Another Fungal is going to connect as well here. This is insanely good micro out of Dark. He makes it look so easy. Cure is struggling for sure. And when I say struggling, I think he might be dying. Here comes an attack on the bottom side. Lots of Banelings, Lurkers as well moving in. Dark has had enough. He says, hey, my dear friend. What about this, huh? How about them apples? As 3-4 tanks get taken out, there's still 2 remaining. Liberator stays alive too. So perhaps a defense is a possibility here. But Cure isn't maxed out anymore, and I don't think he can max out anymore. That is the the real issue right now. Needs to start throwing down mules at a high pace. How many orbitals do we have? We have 9. We have 1 regular command center. This bottom side base is mining. Every mineral that gets mined from here is a bad mineral for Cure and a brilliant mineral for Dark. Top side base is about to be empty, at least when it comes to gas. Minerals is a different story. How many minerals do we have in total? It's like, what, maybe 2k here? There's actually a lot over here. Holy crap, this base hasn't been mined at all. Wow. That's like, what, 9k minerals I think I counted there or so? Maybe 8k? That was a lot of minerals still. Dark still has a lot of fresh bases. It's good to see. This top side is perhaps in danger. We do have a rotation coming out of Dark defensively. Seems like such a risky move coming out of Cure here with half of his army on the bottom side. Snipes are going to connect though. Vipers are going down as well as these infestors come from the back here with a flank, a neural flank coming out of Dark. There's 3k minerals in the bank for Cure all of a sudden again. Those mules definitely putting in the work. But this fight was so one-sided. I mean, he was lacking 8-9 Thors in this fight. 3 Liberators and a tank, and now the Nidus is being put in here forward. Depots are being taken out. I think this might actually just be it. 25 more Hydralisks are on the way, as these infestors still burrowed on the ground. Could definitely help out. Here comes the Nidus network. What's in there, my dear friends? It seems to be just pure Hydras. I'm not so sure how brilliant that is, but let's just hope it's going to be enough. Do you pop them out as a surprise? Hello. Doesn't seem to be the case here. Good scans. Here come the Neurals. Every single infestor does get taken out. Dark perhaps in a bit of trouble as he gets chased here by these Thors. Probably wants to send out some of the Hydras either in or out of the Nidus. I can only imagine. I don't quite know what the plan is. I think you want to pop them out of the Nidus, surely. I mean, he continuously fights. So he seems to actually want to fight. Another Nidus goes down. No, he wants to escape. I don't know what he wants. Why does he keep building Niduses? I don't understand it. Topside base could be in trouble as well. Look how many Hydras there is. There's absolutely nothing here to defend. Hydras indeed go in there. Oh my god! That is 24 lurkers. That's also the final thing that Dark really built though, isn't it? Can't really reproduce another army. Is he gonna send 24 lurkers into the main base of his opponent? Really? Is that what you're gonna do, Dark? Seems to be okay with just taking out this base for now. Bottom side, once again, not really mining. Don't think it's going to be a huge issue. 70k against 66,000 resources lost here. That's a lot of resources. I actually kind of want to see what that consists of. You have 10 Brute Lords, 26 Ghosts, 91 Marines, 45 tanks. And the GG gets called while I'm checking it out, as Cure has had enough. This is such a diverse amount of units. Like an insane diversity of the units that have died here. 56 Hellbats, some Banshees, SCVs, Medevacs, 9 sensor towers have gone down, 3 planetaries and 2 command centers. A hive. Literally everything has died at this point. 100 creep tumors. Sick little game here between Dark and Cure. A bit more technical perhaps than I would have hoped. But interesting nonetheless. Good to see. Dark definitely has it in the late game when it comes to the Zerg versus Terran matchup. And that is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye bye.